Right, so this video is going to talk through something that I mention quite a bit when I'm doing my annotation videos, which is the rule of thirds. So this is basically a guideline that's used mostly by photographers, but it could also be used by editors or people who are putting together sort of posters or front pages to make their compositions or their creations a little bit more dynamic. So what this does is it splits the image into 3 equal columns, 3 equal rows, so that you end up with 9 different squares. And this is something that you guys can see on a camera screen as well. So if you get the sort of grid view up on your digital cameras, I don't think you can do it on phones. Maybe comment below if you can do it on phones. But you can get a screen like this that comes up on your camera, so that you can choose what goes into that center square and the way that you arrange your photograph. And the reason that that center square is so important is because that's where our eye is naturally drawn to first. So there's a reason why we tend to always pick the center square for noughts and crosses first, not only because you can obviously win picking that one, but also because that's where our eyes are drawn to first. Okay, now when it comes to images, not only is the center square really important, but the intersections between the lines, okay, so these little circles here, they're also important. These are called crash points. They create points of interest for the demographic. It's sort of like whatever's in the centre square is the most important, and then gradually you go out from that centre and you sort of decrease in importance the more you leave that centre square. But the crash points are something that you can mention in your exams, and they create obvious points of interest for you to comment on. Now, there are other page grids for us to be aware of, because it doesn't always work like that. So when you're analysing something like a newspaper front page, you can use the rule of thirds if you want to, but it's not a great way to break down a newspaper front page, because newspapers have their own page grids, and that's what those are called. So, for instance, the page grid here is fairly obvious, and that it's sort of split into these different sections. Okay, so I'll show you that again. Okay, this is without the sections, and then this is with the sections. So you can sort of see how even without those lines, those sections are sort of formed based on where the stories are, where the columns are, where they've put the images. And again, that sort of gives us an indication of the level of importance, because obviously the first thing that our eyes are drawn to is one of the biggest features on the page, which is the image in sort of the lower half of the page, but also the masthead as well, because those two are sort of fairly similar width. It's just that the masthead goes across the whole of the front page. Okay, so you can sort of work out the level of importance for yourselves based on that. So I know this was a really quick video. It's a very simple and easy way to break down a front page, or to break down any sort of composition. So hopefully you guys will find that useful yourselves when you're coming to analyse the different things that you look at in media, and to keep it in mind when you're taking images for component 3. Here are our key terms for today, and I'll see you guys later for another video.